Hello there, everyone. The Andrada here, and welcome back to episode 48 of our Project Architect 2 Let's Play series, where today, as you can see behind us, we are essentially finishing Mekanism. We are working on getting ourselves our fusion reactor, generating 200 million RF per tick, which is absolutely fantastic, and getting ourselves our SPS going and producing antimatter. So, yeah, pretty productive episode. Let's get on into it. A recent survey revealed that 6 out of 7 dwarfs aren't happy. Welcome back, my friends, to another wonderful loading day here in the world of the Andrada, where today, well, we are finally going to be setting up our fusion reactor. So last episode we got off and we had set up our heavy water production and our DT fuel. I did go ahead and expand to a second chemical infuser. As you can see here, we're backstuffed on DT fuel with both of these, which means that we're going to be backstuffing on our tritium and our deuterium in here. But with both of these running, we are able to maintain 512 millibuckets per chemical infuser. So we end up with 1,024 millibuckets of DT fuel. Our fusion reactor is going to burn 1,000. So we technically have a 0.024 millibucket buffer. But yeah, I also fixed the power fluctuation by putting a cable here instead of having the flux point directly hooked up. Because the cable has a slight buffer, the 3.27 million buffer inside of it, it's able to maintain consistent power inside of the chemical infuser, so we don't have that bouncing going on. I don't know if that bouncing would cause lag or anything like that, so I'd rather it not be there, so that worked. But yeah, so we have our DT fuel. We have 8 buckets of it currently. And so we should be good to go. A couple things I need to do. First off, we need to get our whole room set up. Our whole room is a block from Mekanism made in a metallurgic infuser with carbon and gold dust. And this is the Kickstarter for our process. Okay. So we have 10, I don't know if it's 10 buckets of DT fuel in there or what that is, but we have 10 stored. DT is 10. But this allows us to actually start our reaction in our fusion reactor. And luckily, we have the power of a temporal pouch, which will make this much easier for us. So I'm going to set my fusion reactor up over here. This is what this space has been waiting for, is this guy. In order to do so, I'm actually going to utilize one of the copy and pastes that I have from Enigmatica 6, which is great because we can easily get this going. Fusion reactor is what I'm going to call it. And I'm going to paste from my inventory, from my clipboard. Copy and paste gadgets are great, and these templates are fantastic because we can easily set up copy and pastes and build machines and then duplicate them and then share them with the world. So I currently have a template for this, but I also want to go ahead and get my copy and paste gadget itself and pop that into here. And we're going to load from the template into the copy and paste gadget. So now the copy and paste gadget knows how to make this thing. So you need a template manager and you need a piece of paper to create the template, and then you copy and paste. But now when I go ahead and paste, you're going to see I can paste a fusion reactor, well, wherever I so choose. And I don't see why this spot is not good. It looks good to me. I'm probably going to switch up a little bit of this because we want our input and output to be slightly different, but I'm going to go ahead and paste this, and we should have everything that we need for this to have been done successfully, except for logic adapters. Or no, these are reactor ports. Let me go ahead and break these because they shouldn't actually be pre-configured anyway. So that might cause issues. But we honestly only need one input, one output, because we have DT fuel that's going to come in and then power that'll come on out. So we'll go ahead and put this here, and then we can grab some reactor glass and put this here, here, and here, and that should allow this to complete, but I also don't want this here. So that can go there, and then, so that's going to be where fuel comes in. We'll have the laser start over here, which is going to be where our focus matrix is going to come from. So the focus matrix itself, which I don't know why the recipe makes 2 of these. I guess you could run 2 lasers into there, or 2 sets of lasers, and then be good. But I need power to come out of this, so I guess I'll do that right here is fine. Okay, and then fusion reactor port. Good. So there we go. We built it. It's not too complicated. I mean, it's not a really complicated build, but hey, I mean, we can do it for free with the copy paste gadget. Why not, right? Okay, so we have our fusion reactor. So what we need to do is go ahead. We need to place our whole room in here. This is going to be what starts the entire process. And we need to go ahead and get our fuel set up. Now, I do need this to be set to an input, and then you are going to be set to an output. We're going to get a plug, flux plug set up on this guy. That's going to be you. You are going to be fusion reactor. You are going to be on the input network, and you're not going to have a limit. On the back, here's where we're going to need to go ahead and set up our quantum entangler. The quantum entangler is going to sit here, and it is going to eject gases out of the back, and it is going to be on the DT fuel. So we should see this filled up with a bucket of DT fuel. Perfect. And with that, that should be technically everything that we need other than the laser portion of things to get this kickstarted. So in order to do that, I'm just going to use reactor frames here because we need to get our laser amplifier set up. Now this guy needs to be the red side facing into the machine. So we'll go ahead and do something like this and then like that. There we go. So then these reactor frames can get out of here. And the laser amplifier is going to absorb laser energy and then basically store it until we're ready to kickstart our reactor, right? We want it to be on redstone detection normal, so that way it's off. And we just need to let this build up power until it gets to, I don't really recall. What does it need to be at? Let me, I have the wiki pulled up here. 1 second. Starting the reaction, you need 1 billion energy. Yes, at least 1 billion energy inside of this. In order to get the energy into this, we have to utilize lasers from Mekanism. So we're going to go ahead and do something like this and then this, but we're going to break this and this, and then we have a laser from Mekanism that can go ahead and sit here, and that laser is going to charge up this guy. So power did go into there, which I don't want to see happen. You can see we have a couple million RF already in there, but it wasn't enough to start this, of course. So I want to make sure that I have that correct. So then all we got to do is grab ourselves a flux point, put it onto our laser. We don't really need to name this because it's a temporary setup, but it'll start filling up our laser amplifier. And again, we need 1 billion RF. This is able to do, I think, 4,000 per tick, which is a very, very slow process, except for the fact that we can do this and make it go much faster, which is great because it's going to take a while for it to happen. Even at max speed, we're still only outputting at, 800,000, it looks like, at max. But we'll get there to 1 billion. I mean, it's not going to take terribly too long, probably about 30 or 40 more seconds, and we'll get to that billion. Then I can click this, and our fusion reactor should start working. In theory, it's actually the fastest fusion reactor I'll have ever set up. Once we get the fusion reactor going, the next step for us is to get our SPS going. But once this is done, this should be able to just maintain itself. We don't have very much flexibility going on with it. So it looks like we're able to get about half of the energy that we need in that 30 seconds of time. So we do it again and we should be good. Now you can, like, it says you're supposed to be able to put like max that you want in here. I think that's for it to auto trigger. I don't know. Or maybe it'll send an output, redstone output, once it reaches your goal there. I've never had that work for me. So like if I set this to 1 billion, it doesn't stop it from filling up. It just, I'm pretty sure that's for the redstone output portion of things. So close. Okay, yeah, way too slow. Boop, 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 boop. Just get me up to that 1 billion, and then I can go ahead and just disconnect the flux point, and then we don't have to worry about it. Bam. Okay, so flux point gone. Now we have 1 billion. So in theory, all I should have to do now is activate this lever, which is going to shoot the laser, all of that energy into here, which will kickstart the fusion reactor and get it running. So without further ado, I can't really see what I'm clicking on, but boom, bam. You see that? We have achieved fusion. We are gods amongst men. So we have a fusion reactor going, and we honestly will hold on to this, put it into our inventory, you know, or I'm sorry, put it into our, I mean, it is our inventory, our applied energistic system. But since we have enough fuel coming in here with our DT fuel, we should be good to go. We should be generating a ton of power. We're already at 70 million RF, and it's all just being powered by that DT fuel. And we should see we have a gain, right? We have 8,019. We have a gain because we're technically generating 1,024 buckets, or I'm sorry, 1,024 millibuckets, and we're only using 1,000 every tick. So we have a very small gain of DT fuel. And that should be able to maintain, and we should not have any issues running this. This is going to quickly ramp up in heat. As you can see, the casing is getting hot. Now, the injection rate, we cannot adjust the ejection rate when we have DT fuel coming in. That's just the way that it is. But we're producing 125 plus million RF per tick at the moment, which is fantastic. That just means that our Draconic cube or orb back at home is filling up just that much faster. And honestly, we'll never fill that thing up. It's never going to happen, but we're doing good. Okay, so let's go check on over here, make sure that everything over here is doing okay. But we should be good to go. Like, there shouldn't be any issues. I do see that I did not chunk load this chunk. So let's go ahead and do that just to be safe. We'll claim this and chunk load this just to make sure that we maintain our power here. But we should have 512 and 512. And now it's obviously flickering because applied energistics is not the fastest at moving it. This one flickers. No, okay, that's not too bad. But 512, we're producing still a half a bucket and 0.648. So we should be good. We should be maintaining, if I look inside, our deuterium should be pretty much frozen. Should not be going up or down. 456, 456, 456, 456, 456, 456. I mean, yeah. And then tritium should have a net gain on that one since we're producing a little bit more than what we need. So yeah, there we go. We have a fusion reactor set up, running and processing and producing us 200 million RF per tick. How are you at now? 170 million. And like I said, it'll ramp up to about 200 million ultimately. If we check over on our energy cube or energy orb, we're probably still at 0%. Also, aren't you supposed to be like daytiming things? Or are you just rain? You're the rain sensor. I should just do a daytime too. That way this is also always daytime. I guess it doesn't really make a difference, but let's pop up on here and check out this guy. And hey, we're still at 0.0%, but we have 23 billion RF and we're currently inputting at 193 million. So that one fusion reactor basically just negated the entire need for all, what is that, 17 or whatever of our nitro reactors that we have going on. But hey, we'll keep it because it works for us, right? Okay, so that means our final step here with Mekanism is to work on getting into our SPS and start producing antimatter. Now, the SPS is very similar to our fusion reactor in setup. I believe it's squarular. I'm not 100% on that one, but I should be able to do the same thing with our template manager and then see what we need. So let's go ahead, template manager. Let's grab some paper and pop that into there. I'm going to pop over on my computer, grab my SPS, copy and paste, and then, oops, I quick clicked on copy, so that erased everything in my keyboard. Paste that. So now we have an SPS. Good. Then I can grab my copy paste gadget again, and we can put that. What did I do? Oh, crashed the game. Okay, we'll be right back. All right, we're back. I've tested out. I loaded my copy and paste, my template into there, so we should be good. What happened, I think, was that when I took my copy paste out, I accidentally had right-clicked, and it was trying to paste in the other dimension, and it just freaked out and crashed the game. So yeah, anyway, everything's working now, and I went ahead and taught the system how to make the stuff for the SPS that we're going to want to build, so we can go ahead and take care of that. So for the SPS, you're going to need a total of 60 SPS casing. You're going to need at least one supercharged coil. More is faster. You're going to need at least one port per supercharged coil, so that way you can get the power into them. And then you need a port for inputting polonium and outputting antimatter. Okay, pretty simple. Now, for the polonium portion of things, I want to see how much polonium I have. I still have 800. That's more than enough. We should be good to go. So what I want to do is actually disable this. I do not want this to operate anymore. What I want is all of the polonium to come into our applied. And actually, can polonium come in because it has radioactivity? I don't think polonium can go into our system. So let's grab a quantum entangler then, and we'll pop that down right here. And we're going to go ahead and say, clear this guy. Okay. I retrieved from him. That's not what I wanted. Wrong button. Okay, let's clear that again. Okay, let's try that again. Retrieve. Now we can inject. Okay, I mean, not that it mattered, but so you're going to be polonium on you, and you are going to be a gas, and you can input from the back. And then this guy now, the solar neutron activator, I want that gas. I want it to output that to the right and stop outputting to the front. So we should have polonium coming into here. Yes. No. Why are you gases input on the back? Yeah. Is it because it's a radioactive? Can I not put radioactive in a quantum entangler porter either? That might be the case. Okay, if that's the case, then an entangled block will do for us then. We can entangle this. And we can probably just do it that way. So let's grab our entangled binder. Oh, apparently I have two. The quest gives you one, doesn't it? We'll go ahead and select that. Now we can entangle that. So what we'll say is gases can output. We'll figure out what side we need to do once we get that done. But there we go. Okay. So in order to get our SPS going, let's grab our copy paste gadget and let's see where do we want to put our SPS. So we're going to unanchor this. And we can go ahead and put it like so. Let's anchor it. And then let's rotate it so that the lasers are pointing that way. Okay, that's fine. Anchor it again. And I like this location, so I'm going to go ahead and build it out. Okay. We didn't have enough reactor glass, but that's okay. We can always grab some more. Not reactor glass, reactor glass. And the copy paste again and let it redo it. And it should fill out the rest of those gaps. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this should, let me place one of these. Bam. There we go. So now we should have a valid SPS, super critical phase shifter. So then all we got to do is get power into this and polonium. So let's see. I wanted polonium to come out of the right side. I have this facing this direction. So if I want the polonium to auto eject, I want it to come out from there. Now what I do want to do is make sure that these are actually configured correctly. And I'm going to put this like so. So we should output auto eject. Hopefully that will auto eject into this once we get it started. I mean, if I have to run a pipe over here, that's not the biggest of deals at all. But yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and get power into this and see if we can't get this to go. And then we should be good. Okay, pick that up, please. So this is where limits are going to be absolutely critical, right? We do not want... man, and this guy shut off because I don't know. Honestly, this should have been able to keep up. All the turning on and off messed this up. That's great. What happened there? The turning on and off, the game crashing totally messed that up. We're still producing half a bucket. We're still producing the tritium. Yeah, that should not have shut off. Something happened when the game crashed. I don't know. Let's grab ourselves another whole ROM. And I'm gonna have to kickstart that again. It is what it is, though. I'll deal with that later. It's not a big deal. We can just turn it back on and we'll be fine. Anyway, that being said, let's go ahead and say this is SPS. This will be SPS 2. We're not going to bypass the limit. We're going to let it sit as is. The SPS will absolutely 100% eat power. It will just literally eat your power. It has no care how much power you put into it. If you do not make sure that you have the correct amount of power, it's just going to go. It's going to do its thing. That is not outputting the polonium. However, I may be able to still solve that if I do this. And I grab a pressurized tube and I set it to extract mode. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So it still does work for us to have it entangled so we get it wireless. Little bit slightly different process than how we need to, but okay. So polonium, now what we need to make sure is that we have enough polonium, right? The fact that this is building up tells me that we have enough polonium being generated. So what I want to do is adjust these numbers to account for that. So let's go with 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's go for 2 million, 800,000 to 2 million. And what I want to see is this either settle or stop, which it's not. So let's go ahead and grab another over here and we'll go 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So now this guy's going to input at 2 million RF. And okay, good. We have all of it being used. Yes. Yeah, we have the numbers going down. So we are producing currently at 0.01 millibuckets per tick. We've already got 10 millibuckets of antimatter, which is nice. Machine is a little bit loud. So we're going to go with this. I don't mind hearing it. I just don't want it to be that loud. Okay. So there we go. We have antimatter being produced. And remember, the antimatter is going to be used for us to create our fading star. That's our fading matter. Apologies. That's our next major thing that we have to make. And it requires 5 millibuckets plus an archium to get one. So technically, we are able to make 3 of those right now. Now, what I do want to look at and see is antimatter pellets. Are these used for anything in what I want? Is there anything here I'm going to need? I don't think so. No. This is just allowing flights. This is a big drive for storing items. This is teleportation. I don't need any of that. So I don't need to convert any of this over to the antimatter pellets, I don't believe. I do antipotronic nucleosynthesizer. Except I do need you, don't I? Yeah, you're the guy who does the thing. Okay, so I do need to do this. So we're going to have to put this into a chemical crystallizer, at least to get 1 or 2 antimatter pellets. How many is it for that? 2. Then we can just have the rest of the antimatter be put into this guy. Okay, so let me grab a chemical crystallizer. We'll go ahead and place this right here. It can go ahead and get the antimatter into it. We'll grab a point. And again, I only need 2 antimatter. So we'll just let this run until I get to those 2 antimatter pellets. Then it'll do its thing. Okay, antimatter. And to make those little pellets, is there anything special that needs to be in here? No, just chemical crystallizer antimatter. It says no recipe, but I don't understand that. Yeah. Anyway, but that is a SPS and a fusion reactor. Again, I will get the fusion reactor going again. I don't know why it shut off. It shouldn't have, We are producing enough. The DT fuel we're able to handle everything. It was just the crash apparently shut it down. Maybe it never even started up. I don't know how far ago the crash was. It could have never actually even started. But we should be good to go. And if we go back to our cube at home, we should have enough power to operate this. So we should be okay. Now, this is slow. Again, this is slowly going down. We're burning as much nuclear waste as we can. There's nothing we can do to speed this up at this point, other than wait. I mean, I guess I could set that wither up over here and let it tick accelerate that if I really wanted to. I don't think that we necessarily need to, though. We'll just let this operate and run and do its thing, and then generate us antimatter in preparation for us getting towards the end of the pack, honestly. So that means that, unfortunately, next episode, we have to go work on getting our Archium. And I say unfortunately because of this portion of things, the Chaotic Dragon. I got to go kill the Chaos Guardian in order to upgrade ourselves to Chaotic tier of crafting. That's always great. Maybe we should look into Draconic, and maybe the problem is I would like to get Chaos weapons in order to do the thing, but we can't because we don't have Chaos weapons, right? We don't have Chaos to do Chaos. So we can't make the Chaos tier of items until we get to killing the Chaos Guardian. The only thing I may want to look into would be, I guess, the bow, because the bow is... the bow can be super OP, which would be very helpful for shooting at the dragon instead of having to run up and Qatar it. But outside of that, and we can get all the way up to Draconic tier. So I need to look into see how does this work? How do we get with the bow? What do I need to auto craft and stuff? So I'll look that up and play with that in between episodes and get us ready to go. But we're working towards getting our chaotic fusion crafting injector so we can make the Archium. Now, once we get this, honestly, this looks like it's going to be a pretty good loop because for the cost of 31 billion, we get 156 billion. But it does require a chaotic core. Never mind. That means that we'd have to have Chaos Dragon on farm, and I don't know how we're supposed to do that. I don't get that. Anyway, so that's going to be it for today's episode. If you enjoyed, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate it. It really does help out the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Have a good one.